Hey, welcome to Systems by Pete, the channel where we talk about business systems and how they can help liberate you and your team from unnecessary work. In today's video, we're going to be asking the question, what is a system and how does it differ from a process or documentation in your business? Let's take a look. All right, so I'm just going to turn to the whiteboard here and have a little discussion on what is a system. So the first thing I'm going to say is that a lot of people think that documentation is the system. It's like if I go through and I create a bunch of how-to documents about all the processes in my company, and then I put that somewhere, those are my business systems. And actually, no, that's not true. What you have is documentation. You have documents that describe how something is done in your business, but you don't have systems which actually make the things happen. So big distinction. And we're going to kind of diagram what that actually is. So really, I mean, the people that work here are employees, right? And those are the ones that are going to do whatever that is. That might actually be you if you're the only employee of your company. And really, no matter what, when an employee works, they have some sort of expected outcome that they're going to do, whatever it is that their job is. And so when we're looking at systems, we're saying, how does this employee do the expected outcome the same way each and every time? And how can this employee continue to do their expected outcome when me as the business owner is not looking, when I'm not even there? And I come back and I look and see, is there a way that I can tell that business has been happening the way it's supposed to be doing and that everything is still working good? And there's a couple of things in order to get to a system that we need to add here to do that. The first one that we're going to have is standards. How is it that we do? And this could be the documentation that we were just talking about before. Could be videos, could be whatever, right? That explain this is how we do it at the company in order to create that expected outcome. The last thing that we're going to need here is accountability. And accountability just says, can we be sure that the work that we're doing here is happening the same way every single time, and that over time we don't start drifting off into some weird place, right? That it stays specific. Now, when an employee looks to the standards of the company, the standards will tell them how to do the expected outcome. The expected outcome is fed into a system of accountability that points back to the employee and says, yeah, this is how it was done. This is who does what by when, and here's the standards for how it was completed. This, my friends, is what we call a system. So take a look at what you might have thought a system was in the beginning and say, did I have all of this considered for each and every area of my company for the main standards of the company? And what I'll say right off the bat here is that when we're thinking about systemizing our business, what we don't want to think about is every little task in the business, every single thing, and like, let's create documentation and a process and accountability for every little thing that we do. You're going to find that nobody wants to work at your company if you do that. Instead, what you want to look at is the core functions of your business that make, the 20% that makes 80% of your value. What are the core things in all areas of your business that you need to make sure that happen the same way every single time? That's what you want to be looking at documenting and creating this process for, the accountability and the system overall. So now let's take a look at a couple of areas, right? So we have the employee and the expected outcome, right? First of all, that is what we call a process. Very important point to know that look at the processes in your company. What is the actual work that is being produced? Who is producing it and how is it getting done? Those are processes in your company. Now, when we look at standards and accountability here, what we're really looking at creating, the next thing is we're looking at creating culture. And extremely important points of your business right here. If you haven't been thinking at all about what the culture is of my business and what the actual processes are that create the workflow of my business, then these are two extremely important things that you want to start looking at in your business right now. And really, what we're looking at creating overall is reliability, right? And how do we get reliability in our business? From the culture and from understanding the processes of our business together. When we start doing that, so let's say we did this in the operations side of your business, so that we know all the processes that are responsible for delivering your core product or service, and we have the culture in that department where we say, this is just how we do things here. And when we get something in, an order or whatever, here's how we deliver it boom, 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 the same way every single time. Now you have reliability in that particular department. When you can do that across all departments of your business, then what we have is something that we call complete business reliability. And complete business reliability is what gives us that ability to step away from our business and say, you know what, it doesn't matter whether it's marketing or finance or delivery operations. I know that that team does exactly what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do it. So that way our vision of our company is upheld. And I don't even have to be involved to do that. That's complete business reliability when you have that for all areas of your business. Now, when you start to think about your business, you might not even necessarily have the departments of your business kind of locked up yet. You could be in a lot of different stages. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But we want to start thinking about everything across the board in this way so that we can start over time bringing the functions of our business into a standardized model like this here. Very, very important. And if you haven't had a chance to look at the 4 stages of business systemization, that's another video that I have. So check it out if you haven't. I'll put it up in the link here. That this would be great to kind of check out because it kind of gives you an example of the stages from survival all the way up to saleable and where your business might fall in there. And this model here is a big part of that. So if you have seen that, this might make a little bit more sense. But in the beginning here, when you have an employee who's in survival mode, that employee might not have access to any of this diagram at all. They might not have standards. They might not have accountability. They might not even have an expected outcome for what their job actually is. If you're really, really winging it and you're just getting started, you guys might have thrown up the sales sign and you're like, let's go, let's start selling, right? And that could be an example of you being in survival mode. And as you start to give your employees access to this sort of thing, if you say, you know what, we're going to actually create standards for you now so that you can actually get an expected outcome out of this, right? Then you might find that business works a little bit better. Rather than being in survival mode, you might be in that stationary phase where you're like, okay, things are rolling. It's not great yet, but things are rolling and I don't feel like I'm constantly trying to tread water and almost drowning, that sort of thing. And then as you start going through here and you say, oh, you know what, it would actually be really great if we did a system of accountability here. And if I put that in there, that really creates that first level system where as long as people are using it, we're going to get this expected outcome. And you might be in this process right now where you're like, this is exactly where we're at, where we have standards and expected outcome, and we're looking to get our team working in it. And we're constantly having to remind our people to use our systems and processes right now. Then you could actually be in that scalable phase where you're looking to do that. And the next step here is really to look at, do you have all the processes for your company locked up for each and every one of those things? Like I said, not everything down to the McDonald's level, but to the ones that are responsible for delivering your course, product, or service? And have you created that strong culture in your business that you say, this is just how we do things here, to the point where we're even hiring the same types of people that just naturally think that way, right? That's when you can start moving out of your out of the scalable and into that saleable phase, right? That's what gives you that reliability. That is what we're looking for here. And you might have done that in a couple of departments. And as you continue to do that overall, that's when you get that complete business reliability, where your business is just completely saleable and you got everything ready to go. So overall, that kind of gives you an analogy of what a system is, how it differs from just a process or documentation that you have. And that's why when you hear about programs like Six Sigma, Lean, and ISO certifications, that's not really systemization. They'll say that they're systems, but really what they're giving you is glorified documentation, right? And that's what you have, because you're not baking that culture into your business and you're not getting the whole thing locked up so that your entire team is going to be using this to get to that complete business reliability. You don't even, when you're looking at those other types of methodologies, you don't even really have a plan for complete business reliability. What you have a plan for is saying, yes, auditor, we have documentation. There it is. Go check it out. Big difference. So wanted to just differentiate the two. Anyways, that's going to do it for the question, what is a system? Hope you got some value out of that. If you did, go ahead and smash the like button, give a comment, and let's discuss this. Have you done this in your business? Where would you say you are within this whole process here? And then definitely, if you haven't done so already, subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we're going to be dropping videos all the time on business systems. It's something that I love to talk about, and I don't think that people are talking about it enough overall. So anyways, that's going to do it. And yeah, we'll go ahead and see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.